Yeah, we're good. All right. Hello, everyone. It's nice to be able to talk with my colleagues and share some very important information about our health programs, what we have to offer, how to access that, how to be eligible to apply, what to do while you're waiting to apply, what to do while if you've been accepted into the program, things to do while you're waiting to begin the program. So just lots of information. So I just want to introduce myself. I'm Bill Bondurant. I am the Director of Advising and Counseling. And with me today is Nathan Stout and Aileen Will. Nathan, who are you, Nathan?
Hi, I'm Nathan Stout. I'm one of the academic advisors here at Craven. Nice meeting you.
Aileen.
Hi, I'm Aileen Will, and I'm the admissions specialist for health programs. So once you apply to Craven Community College and you work with these gentlemen, then you'll come to me if you're interested in one of our health programs.
Yes, Aileen, you are a rock star on campus because so many of our students who come in to student services, their first time through, every day we have students, at least one person is interested in a health program,
That's
which is awesome because we know we need great people in our health programs to go out and serve our communities in the health industry. Very important. And so there is a lot of information. And when we're talking with students, their eyes get really big because we're telling them so many things, and it's hard to just keep all that information there. So what we hope is that when we give them some handouts that they can take with them, and then when they get their Moodle set up and they're like, oh yeah, I want to check back in and listen to more about the health programs and what they have, how to apply, what the requirements are, tease test information, all that we're going to have on this video so folks can kind of check back in and see the information that is there so they can get their ducks in a row and become strong candidates for our programs.
excellent.
Yes, ma'am. So we're excited about this feature that we have. So, one of the first things when they come in, Miss Aileen, is, they're like, I want to be a nurse. I want to apply to the nursing program. And I'm sure you hear the same thing if they've somehow gotten past us and get to you first. So just if you want to go through some of the first questions that you ask of students and what you tell them when they say they want to be a nurse.
So one of the first items for one of our nursing programs that is a requirement, not an option, is that you must hold the Certified Nurse Aid 1 license in North Carolina. That is a stop mark. If you don't have the license to be a CNA, you will not gain entrance into the program.
Right. And so the good news is we have a workforce development program that offers those classes. So oftentimes when we have those conversations, they say, well, how do I do that? And we'll go over to Brock, and then Brock is our workforce development, and they offer these classes. But because there's such a demand, those classes fill up quickly.
Yes, and we did see that. We also had a teacher, I believe, that went out ill this year. And so we had to offer less CNA courses. And so we're down to 4 for the fall, and those were full by the beginning of August. So you really do need to plan ahead. You can't just wake up and say, oh, I want to be a nurse, and then go to take a CNA class, because here at Craven, it is such high demand.
And Nathan, you know as well as I that when these classes fill up, there are still options for students. What other local Craven or community colleges have you seen students get into a CNA program?
We've seen students go to Carteret, Coastal, several of the local community colleges here in the area, Pitt Community College, and we try to encourage them to attend a community college to try to meet that prerequisite as well.
Does Pamlico offer it?
Which college was that?
Pamlico?
And I haven't. I've never had a student attend Pamlico from my knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah, neither have I. But you can always check into it. But yeah, the Coastal and the Carteret and the Lenore folks will do that. And that's another thing to mention, is that, students that are trying to get into nursing programs are very competitive, and we encourage them to apply to more than one nursing program just to increase their chances and odds of getting into a program.
Also, yeah, what we are discovering is that every nursing program in North Carolina is unique. So while we require the CNA license, there are other programs that don't require the CNA license ahead of time. We require it because we don't teach those skills in our courses, whereas other programs teach those skills throughout their courses, and you can get into the program without your CNA.
And I'll throw another plug in for the CNA, and why I'm glad that our college campus does require it is because once you obtain your CNA, you can go to work. You can become gainfully employed in the industry. And how much is that a plus for students to have that kind of experience when they're applying to the nursing program?
And that's really great because we recommend, especially during nursing program, that you don't work more than 10 hours a week. And so if you're out there working 10 hours a week, making between $10 and $20 an hour as a CNA, that's really good money.
Yeah, matter of fact, I talked to someone recently who was doing that, and they managed to get onto the hospital working just the weekend shifts, and they were making $15 an hour doing the weekend shifts. So
that's awesome.
They were very pleased with that. So yeah, there's a lot of benefits to getting that CNA, but it is a requirement to apply to our program. And thank you for pointing that out, that there are some regional campuses that may not have that requirement.
Absolutely. We also require for the nursing programs that you have a completed chemistry course, and that can be either in high school, we will take your high school chem, or at the collegiate level, and we don't care what level of chemistry it is, but it has to be completed.
Mm-hmm. And one of the courses that a lot of people take are the Chem 090
Yes.
That we offer. What other options, Nathan, as an advisor, do you talk to students about with chemistry?
I know we've had several students that had high school level chemistry, and then they wanted to take a college level chemistry and you'll probably explain it, to earn bonus points as an option, and maybe something they can use later on for their BSN requirements.
Absolutely. So BSN requires Chem 131, 131A, and 132. But if they don't like chemistry, then I would stick with the high school chem credit.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right. Awesome. So yeah, a lot of people that we talk to, Miss Aileen, we'll tell them about the requirements to get in. And another one is GPA. Can you tell us about students who bring in GPAs from other, time they spend in other community colleges or four-year schools? How do you guys arrive at the GPA that is either going to qualify or disqualify them?
Great, that's a great question. So our all of our programs require a 2.5 GPA. If your last 12 credits at the college level are here at Craven, we'll just use your Craven GPA. However, if you're bringing in credits from other colleges, I will look at the whole transcript from the other college, and then only college credits above level 100 are factored into the GPA. We don't penalize you for W's, although some colleges I'm seeing do that in their GPA. So then there's a little manipulation of that other GPA to get to the same one that we use. But F's do count, and F's will factor into GPAs.
Okay, all right. And if they're coming right out of high school, you look at their high school GPA?
Yes, we do the unweighted.
Mm-hmm, the unweighted, okay.
And we do not round up. So if your GPA is a 24999, we don't round up to the 50.
Okay. So as we look at some of the boxes to check for the eligibility, if you will, to apply to the nursing program. So we're going to look at those boxes. So the CNA, got to have that. Now, also, though, the application process for nurse, we're just talking about the ADN program right now. So that's in the fall. So if a student gets into a CNA class in the fall, Miss Aileen, does that make them eligible to apply if they've checked the other boxes, as long as they finish it
Yes.
and pass it?
Yes, providing that we don't have any hurricanes or delays in the fall, and they would need their CNA license obtained by the end of the application period, which this year is around December 19th. So as long as they obtain their CNA license by before the new year, then they're good to go.
Okay, awesome. So that's a check in the box.
Right. So there is one other requirement for the programs, that they need to be able to get into the bottom level of 3 different courses without prereqs or co-reqs, as we call them nowadays. They need to be able to take English 111, Bio 163, and Math 110 on its own.
Mm-hmm. Now, with Math 163, how about Math 168? I'm not sorry, not Math Bio 168.
So we've had a lot of conversation about that, and it is rather confusing that why we say 163, but ADN program requires you to take 168, but we want you qualified for 163. I'm not really clear on that myself, but that's they want it stated 163, but you will take 168 in program.
Right, got you. Then that's from Nathan and I, when we talk to folks, we know that they're going to need Bio 168. So as advisors, we make sure that they've met the developmental requirements to take Bio 168. Because there are different developmental requirements from 163 to 168.
Right. And then also here at Craven, we require 143, Math 143 for Bio 168, but our requirement overall is just Math 110.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. And that's a little sticky for us to even wrap our heads around. So our students, even more difficult for them to wrap their heads around. So, but just to let students know who are listening, we'll work with you from both departments, our department and Student Services and Miss Aileen's department in the health programs, to make sure that you're ready to make that application, that you've met the eligibility. So those are the boxes: the developmental requirements, the CNA requirement, the chemistry requirement, and the GPA requirement.
Absolutely. Nathan, can you pull up the admission rating worksheet for maybe the ADN program?
I sure can. Give me 1 second.
Sure, thank you so much. So I've redesigned the worksheet for each of the programs to pretty much look the same. And so we're, and let's see if that one, oh great, she's working on it. That's awesome.
So you would need me to go down to the...
I think it should be under student resources.
Student resources?
Yep. I'm sorry, down near the bottom of the page.
At the bottom?
Near the bottom.
Right.
There it is.
Okay. The admissions rating sheet?
Yes, please.
All right. There you go.
Great. And so what students will be able to see, and they really should use this form, is I've made it a checkbox item. And so they really, unless they can check off all the boxes here in the minimum application requirements, they should hold off on applying.
Mm-hmm.
We will take things in progress, but if they can't complete one of these items, then they're not ready.
Gotcha.
And
yeah,
so,
that's a very helpful worksheet right there.
Thank you. And we're in our department, we're very much about transparency. So we have one of these for each of the programs available to the students. And I've really simplified it where if you can't get through this side, you shouldn't look at side 2.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
To get these items through.
Okay. All right. So again, these are the application requirements. And what a lot of our students get confused, because there are some general education courses that are in the nursing degree, and it is advised that as possible, they complete those general education courses before they begin the nursing program if they are accepted into it. So oftentimes, though, they'll hear, oh, I have to finish those general education classes before I can apply. And the answer is no.
And what we're finding more and more is for financial aid, some students really need to be full-time. And if you are only doing the NUR courses or only doing the PTA courses, you're not going to be full-time. So it's kind of a catch-22. You want to do the gen eds ahead of time so that you can concentrate on your major courses, but then your financial aid might require you to pick up some other credits so that you can get the full financial aid package. Mm-hmm. It's a difficult situation.
Right. Now, in Miss Aileen, so I've adopted the Noah's Ark explanation of the general ed classes because it goes in twosies, right? So we got English at 111 and English 112. We recommend 112 for the fact that it is transferable if a student does go on to get their BSN later down the road. But they need the two Englishes. So that's the first pair. Then we have two psychology, Psych 150 and Psych 241. That's another pair. Then you've got your A and P classes, Bio 168 and 169. So that's another pair. You see our twosies getting onto the arc there, right? And then the other pair, not so much a match, but you got your ACA class. And again, we recommend 122.
Yes.
Is the class, again, because it's transferable if a student's going to be moving on to another degree, seeking a higher degree in nursing. But then the class that would pair with that is a humanities and fine arts class. And that's the final Tuesday is the ACA 122 and the humanities fine arts. And we usually recommend humanities 115, which is critical thinking, which is what, nurses in training, and then nurses need to have that critical thinking skill.
Absolutely.
Built in. But there are other options beside the critical thinking.
Oh yes, there's let's see, there's 8 different options. You don't have to do the critical thinking. We'll take art appreciation, art survey, music appreciation, intro to jazz, philosophical issues, and intro to ethics.
Mm-hmm. So,
like the humanities 115, I think that's a great option.
Mm-hmm. So with the general education courses, the Noah's Ark metaphor or analogy, so it's about eight general ed courses that folks can be working on while they're waiting to apply, waiting to get in, or if they've gotten in, they still have time to take these classes prior to beginning, because it's for the ADN program, it's a fall cohort. They don't begin until the fall.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And Nathan, if you could show the back of that admission rating worksheet.
Absolutely. Let me pull it right back up.
Thank you so much. On the back in the part 2, you can see how having those classes done ahead of time could actually benefit the student with bonus points on top of their application. I'm finding that many students for the ADN and the PTA program plan their strategies 1 to 2 to 3 years ahead of time. So their students are utilizing this to capitalize as much as possible on their bonus points. So as you'll see, like if you take Bio 168 and you make a C, you're only going to get 1 point. But if you make an A, you're going to get 5 points. So we're finding a lot of students are taking courses sometimes twice to make sure that they get the maximum bonus points so that their application floats higher to the top.
And those points are critical, aren't they, Miss Aileen?
Yes, they are. They can definitely make or break your application.
Mm-hmm. So the C is a change from this year, correct?
Yes. We did some fine tuning and we matched our previous admission worksheet with our nursing handbook, and we found some deficiencies. And so now we've added it to make sure that we're up to code with our nursing handbook that's approved by our board of directors. So we are now also awarding credits for, or bonus points for English 111, 112, or 114, Psych 150, or 241. Higher maths or higher chemistries will get points. If you have a bachelor's degree, you get more points. And then also, if you're a recent graduate of high school and you're coming right into the program from high school, you'll get points as well.
And Aileen, so with the recent high school graduates, those students that are in high school this year that want to apply for the nursing program for next fall, that's a good opportunity for them to earn those bonus points and apply, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. We want to get them as quick as possible, and so we understand that they might not have a lot of the other points, and so we'll give them 15 bonus points just for coming to us directly from high school.
Awesome. So on that sheet, while we have it up, let's take a look at another way to get points, and not just another way, but again, as I understand it, another critical score that people need to do well on, and that's the TEAS test, Miss Aileen.
Yes, sir. So every applicant must take the TEAS test, and we only allow one time to take that test. So there are 5 benchmarks that each applicant must meet. And if they meet the minimum benchmarks, they still won't meet the total score. So you actually have to excel in each of the 4 areas to be able to meet the minimum benchmark of 65%. And so that TEAS score is really the basis of your ranking. The higher your total TEAS score is, the higher you're going to be in the ranking. I would recommend a student take a practice test and then see how the scores match against our minimums, and then work on their lower areas before they actually sit down and take the official test.
And tell us if we're doing our job appropriately over here in student services, but we let the students know that the TEAS test will be a very critical part of that score that they're working towards. But we defer them to the conversation with you about materials to use to study, how to study, when to study, and those types of things. Because we figure that may change from time to time. But anyway, when the students do reach out to you, you kind of let them know how to prepare for that test. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So the library has the handbook. It's a big book, just like the SAT or ACT study guide would be. There's a big, thick book there that students can utilize. The Academic Center, Tutoring Center does have tutors available to help students with each of these areas. I would caution them that the science is very heavy on the Anatomy 2 class, the Bio 169. So students that are just entering into Bio 168 or have no anatomy will struggle with the science portion.
Okay. And is there a time frame that you recommend they take the TEAS test during that fall semester when the applications are open?
Yes, we will only be accepting TEAS test scores from October 1 through December 19th, 2020 this year. So somebody that presents a TEAS test score before October 1st, we will not be accepting it.
So yeah, if they took that before October 1st and knocked the scores out of the park, it's not going to be acceptable. So
right.
That's a loss of some great scores. So wait till after October 1st.
Right. So you might as well just wait and take it. The reason we had to do this is people were trying to give us scores from last year or months prior. And our guidelines say it has to be during the application period. And so the application is open October 1 through December 19th. So we have to only allow testing scores from October 1st to December 19th.
Okay, awesome. So I think we've pretty well ran the gambit of, the ADN program and the requirements that you have to meet before you apply, general education classes that you're trying to work on before you begin the program, the TEAS test, the importance of transcripts, and they've got to have that high school transcript. Is that right? As we cover that thing.
So I do know that sometimes when you apply to Craven Community College or any North Carolina college, your high school transcript could be waived to be on file if you're coming with an associate degree or a bachelor degree from other areas. However, our nursing board of directors at the state level requires that we have an official transcript here on file. So if your official high school transcript is not on file by December 19th, we will close your nursing application.
Okay. Yeah, definitely wanted to make sure we put that plug in there as well. So tell us then about our PN, Practical Nurse Program, and some of the reasons why that may be someone's best alternative to maybe break into the ADN program down the road. And are the requirements very similar? And what's the path look like if you're coming through the PN program?
Great. So just to also put in there, the ADN program is a 5-semester program. Now, looking at the PN program, Nathan, if you could pull up their admission rating worksheet, you'll find on the front side, it's exactly the same as the ADN. So pretty much all the requirements to get into one or the other are the exact same. But when you look at page 2, you'll see that the TEAS test scores are about 10 points lower. So someone that really wants to be an ADN but tests lower could then go into the PN program. Oh, it looks so nice and professional.
It does. Wonderful piece of crafting right there.
Thank you. Thank you. So you'll see that just the scores are lower by about 10 points each one, and we do not round up. We did find that a lot of students, like on the science, were scoring a 59.6, and for the ADN program, or I'm sorry, for PTA, you have to have a 60. So we were finding that that is a difficult section, and we don't round up. And it looks like, looking at the sheet, everything else is the same. We do give points for bachelor's degrees, for coming right out of high school, for the higher math or chemistry as well.
Okay. So, and I'm sure that's a conversation maybe that you have with students when with their TEAS test scores to say, hey, you didn't qualify maybe for the ADN program to continue forward with that application. However, you do have an option for the PN program. So is that something that you guys catch and just bring it to their attention, or is that something that you just let them know in advance as, hey, if your scores aren't exactly where they need to be for the ADN, come talk to us about the PN program?
Right. So if somebody applies to the ADN program and their scores are too low, they would be notified that their application for the ADN program has been closed due to non-qualifying scores, and then they would be given the option to convert their application over to PN if their scores were high enough for the PN benchmarks.
Okay, awesome.
And then that's up to the applicant whether they choose to convert their application over or not. They don't have to.
And just so the students understand, so when you complete the PN program, then there's a bridge program from PN where they can actually join a cohort of the ADN students down the road.
Yes, and that's called transition nursing. And so we take their PN program, and that does not require the CNA, yay, but it does require the PN license. So they do have to complete the PN program. They have to sit for their license and they have to pass the license test. Then they have that fall semester to get all their gen eds done. And then that spring, they take one course for transition nursing. And then that summer, they go right into the ADN program.
Okay. Out of my curiosity, as you put that cohort together, is that a combination of students that did the PN program and want to move directly in to the ADN, or is it students who got their PN, they went out, they worked for several years, and now they've decided, hey, I want to continue on and complete my ADN? Is it a combination of those populations?
It definitely is, and no one should feel they're too young or too old to apply to any of these programs. We definitely have students in anywhere from 18 through 70 in the program right now.
Okay, awesome. All right.
So Aileen, with the combination of students that apply to the ADN program, plus these transition students, about how many students total is in the nursing program, the RN program?
We have 48 students in the ADN program. We have 16 students in the PN program, and we have 16 students in the transition program. So that's 32 and 48. I'll let you do the math. Over 80. So yeah, those three together would be our biggest program.
Okay. And before we move on to one of our other programs, our graduates, do many of them go on to Carolina East because they've done a lot of their clinicals and things like that? Do a lot of them go up to Vidant, up in Greenville? Or some, we know we have military associated students who then go off with their spouses when they get stationed at other places. I mean, where are our students going when they complete?
I don't have those statistics, but I believe you're on target with that. We are not nationally accredited. I will put that out there. We are in pre-accreditation for national status. So I believe we're in year 2 right now. So that is something for military spouses to be aware of, that there are other local nursing programs that are nationally accredited. We are working on it, but we're not 100% there yet.
Mm-hmm. So basically, our students are going into North Carolina hospitals. I know that a lot go to Carolina East because, again, they're familiar with it. They're staying in the New Bern area, but also Vidant obviously hires a lot of nurses as well. And then there's other regional hospitals also.
I also see a lot of our students coming up from the Onslow County area. So I'm assuming then that a lot of them probably work for the hospital down in Onslow.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. But our students have no problem finding jobs, do they, Miss Aileen?
Oh gosh, no, not at all. And there's such a shortage, of nursing in North Carolina anyway.
Mm-hmm. Nathan, is there any other questions you want to ask about the ADN, PN before we move on to another program?
No, I think we covered everything. It was a great discussion.
All right, outstanding. So another one of our very competitive programs is PTA, Physical Therapy Assistant. Tell us a little bit about that, Miss Aileen.
So how I like to explain it on the tours is if you like blood and guts and all that kind of stuff, then the nursing field is definitely for you. But if you want to help the people that had surgeries or accidents or injuries to their body get back to normal, then you want to go into PTA, which is Physical Therapist Assistant, because you're helping them with their body functions and push and pull and balance and things like that and get back to normal life.
And are the requirements to apply to that program very similar? I know Nathan can pull that up for us probably.
It is, let's see. Yeah, pretty much the same, except they do require the Bio 168.
Okay.
And that might, see, I don't know if theirs is not updated. That's the old sheet. So you can see how much better the new one looks. But there is that chemistry requirement. We do have that chemistry requirement there. They are at Bio 168 as a requirement. We are uncertain as far as observation hours, whether we'll be requiring that for the spring application of 21 yet. We're going to wait a little bit longer, see how society is doing, whether we're going to require that or not.
Right. That has been a standard and a staple prior to COVID. But now that's one that's kind of on hold as far as a requirement.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right.
So the difference here, as you'll see on page 2, is that the PTA program takes a percentage of all 5 benchmark scores and puts those together to get a total score for your application. So while the science is pretty high there, all the scores really matter. And then you'll see down below that they do require a communications course, and their bonus points really can make a difference. You'll see it more dramatically here. You know, an A in Bio 168 gives you 14 points, whereas a C will only give you 4. And you'll see, so this is more of a program where students are truly taking courses 2 or 3 times to ensure that they're maximizing their points, especially with the Bio 168, 169, because that's could be a 20-point difference on somebody's application if somebody comes in with C's versus coming in with A's. Another item that PTA candidates have is that they can get credit for work experience relating to the physical therapy field. And there in that paragraph, you can see like massage therapist or a rehab tech or a physical therapist tech. There's a couple other positions in there where if you actually have earned work hours, and that's paid work hours, we will give you bonus points on your application for that as well.
Okay. Awesome. Now, and so how many students are taken for this program, Miss Aileen?
We take 22 into that program, and we normally average around 80 applications.
So again, very competitive. Anytime that you can get those bonus points, highly recommended, do well on the TEAS test. And where are our students gaining employment after they finish the program?
Most students seem to think that they're going to go to outpatient rehab places, but I believe that that's not really where they're going. I think they're more going to more like nursing homes, assisted living, those kind of places are where the need is bigger.
Okay. But there is a need for that program too. They don't have difficulty finding positions either once they complete the program.
No, not at all. And I will say I'm very impressed. Our incoming 22 students, of those students, 10 of them already had bachelor degrees. So that's where they're also getting their bonus points from. It's a very educated group of students in there.
Okay. And one of the major differences, though, between the PTA and the PN, ADN, and transition programs, though, is that the application window is in the spring. Is this correct?
That is correct. It's February 1 through April 30th. And then we do allow them to take the test March through May.
Okay. So it's just a different window. For the others we were talking about, it's fall application, take the TEAS in the fall, do all that. And then for PTA, and then we'll talk about medical assisting, that's an also spring, and HIT are spring programs as well.
The reason nursing starts their process so much earlier is then once we get our nursing students accepted, then there's a lot of orientation, there's a lot of other behind the scenes stuff that nurses have to have completed. You also have to do things for the hospital to be able to do your clinicals. And then there's even a hospital orientation that we have to schedule. So there's so many other things that nursing has to do ahead of time that we can't do a spring application for that.
Okay. All right. How about medical assisting? What kind of people are drawn to that program, and what are the pluses of folks interested in that program?
So medical assistants, if they are interested in maybe working in doctor offices, but they like the front desk kind of items, or sitting down with the patient before the nurse or the doctor comes in and getting the background history and figuring out what's wrong with the patient today, that's a great job for someone that, they just want to work 8 to 5 or 8 to 6. There's no shift work. There's no weekend work. They're in a regular office setting. That also only begins in August each year. The application is in the springtime. And we have a 1-year program for a diploma. And then if you want to stay a second year, you can get your degree, and it's completely online.
And what are the perks or recommendations, the marketability if you go in and get that second year? Does it make a big difference as far as marketability, pay raise, that kind of thing? Or
there is a pay raise. I don't know as far as marketability.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Some of our students do go into the MA program if they haven't qualified for the nursing program or the PTA. That's a good option for another year while you're beefing up your skills to reapply to the other programs. They do not require the CNA, and they don't require the chemistry.
Okay. And how about the TEAS test for the MA medical assistant? So it does remove a lot of the obstacles then.
Yes.
Yeah. It like you said, if you've applied and not met the requirements for the other programs, this is a way to get into the medical care industry through medical assisting. And I love medical assistants because, when I go to that annual appointment, they're the ones that greet me and say, are you still taking the same medications? Has anything changed? How have you been feeling? And it's just that conversation that you have with the medical assistant. And if you're not as into the blood and guts and gore as the nurses, right? You're not going to have to get. What kills me is when they come in and they put all the EKG stuff on me. I have a very hairy chest. I'm just throwing that out there. Too much information. And they struggle. They're like, I can't get these things to stick on your chest. And I'm like, it's okay. Those are always fun conversations too.
Absolutely. I like being able to see the same medical assistant each time. Like, it throws me off when I go to see my doctor and it's somebody different. Like, it helps relax you when it's the same person.
Absolutely. And most of the doctors that I go to, it's the same person. So it's like seeing a friend when I go in there.
And then our last program that I'd like to mention is the HIT program. So if there's a student that, I want to be in the health field, but I don't like people too much, and I'm really good with computers, then there's the HIT, the Health Information Technology program, where you're going to be behind the scenes. You might deal with customers a little bit, but you're going to be doing all the computer work and things like that for anything, for doctor's offices, for hospitals, and then eventually you can even work from home.
And a lot of people are attracted to that feature, especially in a new age of Corona, and trying to, just kind of stay out of big groups of people and offices and things like that. But that working from home component is good.
And that program is our lowest entrance GPA. We require only a 2.0 to get into that program. And the benefit of the HIT program is that you can actually take that all the way up to a bachelor's degree, master's degree, and even a doctorate degree now.
All right.
And that's nice that you have that room for advancement.
Absolutely.
Yes.
For sure. Oh, there's Aileen. Thought we lost her for a second. We don't want to lose Aileen. And then one more. So all the programs we just talked about are application, and I'm assuming the seats for medical assisting and HIT. There's a higher chance of getting in the first time you apply. Is that a true statement?
Yes, that's a very true statement. The only things that might stop a student from getting in is if we had no documentation on file, like no high school transcript.
Okay, all right. And then we have one that's it's not competitive because you don't have to apply to get in, and that's medical office administration. That also, again, if you're not that people person, you kind of like working on computers, you kind of like working in the background, where you're putting in, a lot of that insurance information, billing and coding, those types of things. And that is a completely online program if you want to do it that way. Is that correct?
I wish I could say that's correct. Honestly, I don't know. They have their own program coordinator, Colleen, and I know she's very responsive to any applicants that are interested. I don't run those applications though.
Right. I can tell you, I love Miss Colleen. She came from the industry, working in the industry. And so she has a lot of networking connections in the community and helps people find jobs coming out of that. And Nathan, correct me if I'm wrong, but that is a complete online degree if you want to get.
Yes, it is, Bill. I mean, it's completely online, maybe except for the general education requirements, depending upon your admission steps. Yeah.
Some people like sitting in classes, and so you could take your general eds in seated classes. But I think predominantly the MOA classes are all online. When people say
That's correct. Yeah.
if they say I need to get those seated, I'm like, I'm sorry, we don't have those seated. Those are online. Gen ed, we can get you seated if you'd like to get seated. So.
Which is strange because I'm getting a lot of phone calls from students that want to take nursing all online. And
wow.
That's impossible. I mean,
yeah. I don't want a nurse in the hospital taking care of me that was doing it all online.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we do have two wonderful simulation labs that all the programs use. Even the PTA students go in there a little bit and they practice. We have one simulator that costs $85,000 with all its hardware and everything, and he can sweat, he can birth, he can do all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, well, he can become a she, so he can birth. Yeah.
That means you have to put deodorant on him if he sweats.
Oh, maybe.
So, Aileen, do you want to say anything about A-Ribbon before we wrap up here? I know that a lot of our students come in with questions about A-Ribbon.
So A-Ribbon is the program for students that have already done some college after high school. So you maybe graduated a year ago from high school and you're just taking courses this year. A-Ribbon has a lot of prereqs, and the program will want most of those prereqs done ahead of time. There are 4 applications to A-Ribbon. The first application is to Craven Community College. The second application is to the ADN program at Craven Community College. The third application would be to the A-Ribbon program. If you get into Craven and get into A-Ribbon, the fourth application would be to ECU. And you don't need to apply to ECU till you've gotten your acceptances to both, and A-Ribbon will make sure you're accepted to ECU. The ECU application is the only one that costs money, and so that's why we kind of advise students, don't apply to ECU first, kind of wait and make sure that you're getting into everywhere else. And the A-Ribbon program will require that all students take one course at ECU every semester. And students need to be aware that is an ECU tuition and fees course. So you will have to pay ECU tuition and fees on that one course each semester.
Okay. And this is where I at least, and I think pretty much Nathan and our other advisors will say, here's some information on A-Ribbon, but if you really are interested, please go see Aileen so she can give you the nuts and bolts.
Absolutely, and it's and I'm finding that some students, when they're calling ECU, they're not calling the A-Ribbon advisors. They're calling just general advising, and over there they're not getting the right information. So it's really important either to come to me or to talk to one of the 3 A-Ribbon advisors so that you can get a proper evaluation.
Okay. Nathan, any more questions about A-Ribbon or anything else?
No, I don't have any questions, Bill.
Okay. So, Miss Aileen, what is your preferred method of receiving inquiries from students? Do you like when they email you first, or call you first, or come see you? What's your preferred method?
My preferred method is email.
Okay.
I like to do visits, but I would prefer to do visits by appointment only so that I can pull a few documents ahead of time and prepare a nice folder to give to students. I can do phone calls, I can do phone conferences, but email is the easiest way to reach me.
Awesome. And I think that's true. That's what we tell our students too, is that if you email us first, we'll move from there. We want to make contact and we want to be able to share information, and email is the cleanest way to do that right now. So
absolutely. And then, it's fine to email me and say, hey, when you have a minute, please call me. And that's great too. I don't mind talking on the phone, but the quickest, easiest way to get a hold of me is by email.
Okay, outstanding. And I tell people that you're wonderful, so easy to talk to, so accommodating, informative, professional, and yeah, I've never had anybody say, "Oh, I could never get up with her," or "She never returned my email," or people are always saying, "Yes, Aileen is on point." So
thank you, I appreciate that.
And we thank you for taking time out of your day to help us make this little informative video that we'll put in Moodle so that students can, look at this whenever they want to and just be reminded of all the important information that's out there that they need to know.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for inviting me to do this.
Absolutely. All right. Well, listen, we will see you around, Miss Aileen.
All right. Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nathan. All righty.
Thank you.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right. That should have stopped it.
It's not. It's still in progress.
Why is it doing that for? All right.